Hey guys, welcome to your 8th week ad flash course. And this week we are going to talk about social problems. You know, the topic of social problems is a hot topic and you will have a lot to discuss because our life is full of problems, right? And we need to find solutions to those problems. That's why today's vocabulary will be very useful for you. Let's listen carefully, and if you need to take notes, please make sure you have a pen and a notebook and you repeat after me as I say these new words for you. So one of the biggest social problems is poverty. Poverty is a state of being poor. Generally, the level of poverty in one country describes the economy of a country. For example, if in a country there are a lot of people who live below the level of survival, it's called a poor country or a country with a high level of poverty. Poverty is usually connected to unemployment. Unemployment is the amount of people in the country that do not have a job or a position at a company or wherever. So they are unemployed. Unemployment leads to another social problem, which is homelessness. Have you ever seen homeless people? People who do not have a home. So homelessness is a state of a person having no accommodation, no place to live in. Another problem that probably is connected to this, but it is a separate problem, it is overpopulation. For example, if you think about China or India, you can imagine what overpopulation looks like. It's when in a country there are a lot of people and it's too much. And for example, the population, the amount of people living in a country is bigger than the area of the country, and then the country or city can afford itself. One of the major problems that is rising right now in 21st century is inequality. We had this problem since forever, but right now people are discussing the ways to solve this problem. So inequality is the state of being not equal, having not equal rights and freedoms. For example, in some countries, women and men have not equal rights and freedoms. People of different race have not equal rights and freedoms. Two interesting problems, completely opposite problems that are there in our world is obesity. Obesity is the state of being too fat or too overweight, having too much extra weight on your body. And another problem is famine. Obesity is the problem of progressive countries such as the USA, Australia, sometimes Canada, Europe, and famine is the problem of African country or the third world. The synonym of the word famine is starvation. So famine is a lack of food when there is not enough food for everyone to survive. For example, during the war or during a certain year when the weather was bad and the crops didn't grow, for example. Let's talk about one of the problems that is there in our society. It is a problem of addiction. You can be addicted to drugs. You can be addicted to alcohol. Addiction is a severe wish to take or use something, or other way, an inability when you're not able to stop using or stop taking some medicines or some alcohol, for example. The opposite of being alcoholic is sobriety. When you are sober, you are not drunk. You don't have any alcohol in you, and sobriety is a state of being sober. Well, let's talk about children's problems. For example, nowadays we still have a problem of child labor. Child labor is when companies or factories use children to work when they are not allowed to. So child labor is usually an illegal act. So in many countries and generally in the world, it is forbidden, it is prohibited to use child labor. But in some countries, child labor is prospering, and we can see that children ages 8 to 12 are used to work at factories or plantations, and that is not okay. Another problem of children who go to school, who do not work, is bullying. Bullying is generally forcing another person to do something against their will by threatening or by physically harassing the person. So bullying is seen in schools or sometimes in the army when generally equal people, or one person who is stronger than the other, or one kid who is stronger than the other, tries to force another kid to do something, like to give money or to do their homework for them by just showing strength and by threatening or by harassing in some way. So it's not okay. One of the major problems in the families is domestic violence. So domestic violence, generally violence is an act of aggression towards another person. Domestic violence is the violence that is shown within a family, within a household, usually from men towards women or from parents towards children. So generally domestic violence is not okay, and it is prohibited in many countries, and it is a felony in many countries. And we will need some more words to talk about this topic. The first phrase is lack of. Lack of is the state of being not enough, or having not enough, or having no something at all. For example, lack of patience means that a person doesn't have patience or has not enough patience to complete a job, for example. Of course, in the topic of social problems, we will talk about human rights. Human rights are general freedoms and rights that every person has because he is a human from birth. When you face something, it means that you recognize a problem, you see a problem, and you have to deal with it. So facing a problem is actually coming face to face with a problem and finding a solution to it or an answer to the problem. You will need a word increase. So increase means to grow or to become bigger in amount. And the phrase dramatically increase, actually that's a collocation, so we use these two words together very often. So dramatically increase means to increase, to grow very, very fast, and in a way that is sudden, noticeable, and that can influence something else. So generally, when we have a problem, what we need to do is to set an objective. Objective is the thing that you plan to do or achieve. So generally, it's like a goal or an aim, but what you think about, what you consider, and what you make plans about. And you, of course, need to focus on your objective. Please pay attention to the preposition. Focusing on means drawing all of your attention towards something. So, for example, focus on me, it means that you need to pay attention to me and draw all of your attention to me and listen carefully, for example. I believe that if you focus on an objective or on a goal, you will be able to find a solution. Finding a solution generally is finding an answer. I've talked about this a lot during this video. So each problem can have a solution if you think about it or if you discuss it. And finding a solution means being in control. To be in control means to have the power to make all the important decisions about whatever you are in control of. For example, I'm in control of my life, which means that I have the power, I have the authority to make decisions about my life, and I decide how my life is going to be and what my life is going to be like. If you are not in control of your emotions, for example, you do not have the power to make decisions right now about your emotions. So, for example, if you're angry and you're not in control of your emotions spill out and they can influence other people, maybe in not a very pleasant way. And one interesting word for you is negotiate. Negotiate, so generally, is to discuss terms and conditions under which you come to an agreement. So negotiations are usually made among at least two people or two parties. For example, two countries, they negotiate on their trade policies, and they say we will trade using these taxes, and the other country says no, we need 10% more taxes. And when they negotiate, they come to an agreement. They compromise. And of course, to negotiate, you need to be willing to negotiate. Willing to do something means to be happy and ready to do it, to complete whatever you are willing to do. For example, I'm willing to explain you this lesson. It means I'm happy and I'm ready to explain you this lesson. I'm ready to complete my duty, my task. If you are willing to study, it's easy for you to study because you're happy and you're ready to study. I hope you are willing to discuss this topic over this week, and you will find some new phrases, some new words for you that will be useful and that will enrich your vocabulary. So we're done for today with your vocabulary. Make sure you memorize all the words. Make sure you practice them in the task after this video, and discuss them with your teacher. Thank you for watching this video. Enjoy your week.